Nigel Farage, the former Brexit Party leader, with us right now on what to make of that. The tensions, the family tensions notwithstanding, it seemed to go off well. Nigel, what do you think?
Oh, look, it was historic, it was magnificent, and it was emotional. I mean, that moment when William was there and kissed his father on the cheek during the ceremony, very, very touching. When Charles turned to Camilla and looked at her, you could see his face brighten up. And Harry, well, do you know what? Actually, he looked very confident. He's only here for a short time. There were no scenes, there were no problems, and I'm very pleased, despite everything that's been said, I'm very pleased that Harry was there.
Well, that's good to hear. But do we know whether he had a chance to be alone with his father or alone with his brother? Any of that?
I think they would have spent time together late this morning.
Okay.
Quite how much, I don't know. But yes, I mean, literally, after the ceremony, he was straight off to Heathrow Airport, and he's going back to the West Coast, although he does have a good reason. It is little Archie's 4th birthday.
Yeah. Heaven forbid, he also flew commercial, which that was a shocker right there. But leaving that aside, I'm wondering now for King Charles, and you've educated me the ways of British prime ministers who regularly meet with monarchs. It's been 70 years, of course, where a whole variety of British prime ministers had their weekly audience with the Queen. And now, of course, the prime minister will have his audiences with the King. Do we know what goes on there, or whether the prime minister or the King, in this particular case, are on sync on a lot of things?
Well, the real job of a constitutional monarch, and it's been this way since 1688, is to make sure that the government of the day does not do things that damage the country and damage the Constitution. They are there to defend the Constitution. They're also there, incidentally, to be the defender of the faith. Predominantly the Christian faith, but you'll notice today that Charles did include all of the other church leaders as well. Now, what is said between a prime minister and a monarch is always supposed to be secret.
Right.
But what we do know of the late Queen, and don't forget, every piece of legislation cannot become law until the monarch puts their signature on the document. It's called the royal assent. And what we do know is the Queen sometimes would say to the Prime Minister, "Are you sure? Have you really thought this through?" So it's a very gentle form of using power, of exercising influence, but it's something that is done very much in private. As I say, we've been doing it for 3.5 centuries.
Indeed.
And, whatever the faults we have in our country, generally, compared to the rest of Europe, we've had very, very stable government, stable monarchy. We've not had revolutions. We haven't turned to communism. We haven't turned to fascism. Generally, I think the British system, and it may look somewhat outdated, but you know something? It works.
It does work. It does work. Were you disappointed that Adele couldn't show up to sing?
Well, of course I was, but, tomorrow will be a big celebration at Windsor. It's going to be a hell of a show. I think Lionel Richie, is going to be the star of much of it. And tomorrow's going to be a big celebration. But today, I've got to tell you, all I know about the coronation are the grainy black and white images from almost exactly 70 years ago. What I saw today was absolutely breathtaking. And I'll be honest with you, I felt pretty emotional watching some of that stuff, and I felt immensely proud to be British today, and I absolutely make no apology for that whatsoever.
Nor should you, and I like to see that's about all across the entire political spectrum. We don't have much time, Nigel, but I did want to get your thoughts on support for the royal family. It was at a low point after the death of Diana, I understand that, and the Queen was able to rebuild that over the years until her sad passing. How is it today?
Support for the monarchy in those over the age of 40 is overwhelming. Support for the monarchy in the younger population is quite divided. Why? Frankly, I think through our educational establishment, much as you see in much of America, there is an agenda, a left-wing agenda being pushed on kids, telling them they should hate our countries and hate our histories, and I'd like that to be addressed. But there is no prospect of us getting rid of the monarchy. That simply isn't going to happen. And today, I think, would have brought more supporters to the monarchy.
Jolly good, my friend, jolly good. All right, enjoy the weekend and the festivities, Nigel. Always an honor to have you. Nigel Farage, the former Brexit Party leader.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.